As much as I hate to admit it, at the end of the day, online business is a bit of a numbers game, at least to some degree. There are some universal key metrics involved across all online businesses that should play a part in the overall strategy and goal setting for your business. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you the metrics you should use to set your goals and expectations in your business, plus some tips to increase those numbers. So stay tuned. Hey there, I'm Shawn Mynar, and this is Unstuck Entrepreneur. I'm a former nutritionist who turned a struggling, stressful nutrition practice into a thriving, freedom-filled online business where I work from home in my sweatpants while reaching and helping thousands of people all at the same time. Now I'm obsessed with showing other heart-centered coaches, practitioners, and solopreneurs how to build a business and life they love. Consider this podcast your safe space to learn both the inner work and practical strategies required to build the impactful, profitable business of your dreams. No hustle, grind, or long hours required. That's right, hustle culture, not welcome here. Let's get into today's session. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Unstuck Entrepreneur podcast. I'm Shawn, your host on each and every episode of this show. And glad to be with you. Extra glad because that means I am finally over whatever sort of cough, throat thing I had going on the past few weeks. I started feeling that tickle. We all know that little throat tickle where you're like, uh-oh, something might be happening. I started feeling that the weekend, 2 weekends ago now, and it was a few days before I was to host the Make Messaging Magic workshop, which meant I was not going to be getting sick. I was not going to be losing my voice. The show must go on. So I did everything I could over those 3 days to make sure that my throat was ready to talk for 2 hours straight. And so that went off. It was great. I did have to have some hot water near me, some throat lozenges near me. I had the humidifier blowing directly on me through that entire workshop because I was worried that my throat was going to go in the middle of it. And it did start to want to leave towards the end. It was threatening to go, but I was able to make it through and it was great, super fun. But then from that point on until now, which is over a week later, I tried 3 times. This is now the 4th time that I tried to record this episode, and I just couldn't get through it. Within the first couple minutes, my throat would go, I would start coughing and just all this stuff. And so I had to put it off until now, but I'm feeling good. I think I'm back at it. It was hard because I felt totally fine. So I wouldn't even say that I was sick necessarily, except I just had this really weird cough and my throat would just seize up at any point of the day. And so just wasn't quite podcast healthy, I guess I will say. So that is why you did not see a new episode last week. But here we are with the episode that I've been waiting to share with you for several weeks now, and happy to be back. Extra happy to be back. This episode is something that I don't think ever have talked about here on this show in the almost 200 episodes we have here now. Because to be totally honest, I don't like talking about it. I have a real internal battle going on about this episode. Talking about things like metrics, percentages, numbers, the analytics is not something that I focus on much in my teaching and coaching and things we do here on the show and things I do in my courses and programs. And it's not because I don't think they're important, and it's not because I don't use them in my business. I mean, I'm not the most analytical numbers person, but I do see the need for that in a business. And so, yes, I do use them, but I don't talk about them much because the type of person I work with, you being that person because you're here listening, that person tends to be towards the beginning of their business journey within, say, the first few years. And I feel like metrics within the first few years of business can be A, overwhelming, B, disheartening or discouraging, and C, not totally accurate. There are specifically certain metrics that towards the beginning of a business vary widely, much more so than someone who has been at it for a while and is a more seasoned entrepreneur and has potentially a bigger audience and potentially an audience that's been around, been with them for a while, that's gone cold or stale. And so the numbers that they see are a lot different than someone who has just started out, and all of their audience, while it is small, is warm because they just started. And so they're just starting to gather interest and to get clients. And so the numbers are just really different. And so to look at those numbers from that type of business and see them as applied to your business, well, that could be a little discouraging and not accurate at all for you. And then also someone who has been at this a little longer, has had some launches under their belt, has seen some ups and downs, things that work, things that don't. They just have a lot more data. And when you have that data, well, then you can apply that to your business and it'll have a lot more accuracy. But if you are someone who hasn't done anything like this before, you're relying on someone else's data that doesn't necessarily apply to you or your business or what you're doing. And again, if you're looking at that, it's likely not accurate and could, again, be kind of discouraging and overwhelming and all of that stuff. And I just don't want that for you. I don't want these numbers to be discouraging for you or to make you second guess what you're doing. I can tell you for the first few years of my business, especially as I was getting into the online space, I had no idea what these numbers were. I just went for it and I just saw what my numbers were and I was like, okay, cool, that's what it is. I didn't base my decisions or my emotions on someone else's metrics that they were using to decide, how my business was going to go, whether it was a success or not, or anything like that. So I can tell you to just, I guess really what I'm saying is take all of this with a grain of salt, because I do want to share these with you because I am seeing a trend. I have noticed the need to create expectations for your business and where it's at right now, especially towards the beginning stages, that are in alignment with where you're at and with what is to be expected. And I think knowing some of these numbers will help with those expectations and those goals. I don't want to say realistic but really that's what it is. But I don't want to say it because I am all for you setting high expectations for yourself and your business, you setting these goals that are like really big and audacious and will have you going after them. We've talked about goal setting before and how to do that and kind of release expectation from that. Important. And I want you to do that. And I want you to set big goals and have these big dreams and go after them. But at the same time, what I'm seeing and why I felt the need to do this episode is because there's a lot of disappointment out there. I'm seeing a lot of disappointment as a business coach right now. And trust me, I get it. I've been there. I think disappointment is one of those pretty strong emotions that comes on this roller coaster that is doing business. That is okay. It's normal and expected to feel that at some point for what you're doing in your business. But what I don't want is for that disappointment to come simply because of unrealistic expectations. When in reality, if you really strip it back and look at it, based on how we expect business to perform, you should be celebrating You should be excited. You should be ecstatic. For many of you, where you're starting at right now or where you are in these first few years of your business journey, even getting one person to pay you is something that you should be excited about. And I think that that's why I never felt this need to know these numbers at the beginning of my business, because I didn't have any expectations. I didn't know what was going to happen. It was still very new in the online business world. We're talking like 8-9 years ago. And believe it or not, the online business space wasn't nearly what it is today. So there wasn't really that much noise out there. And I think that's why a lot of these unrealistic expectations that lead to the disappointment happen, is because there's so much more out there in terms of content of like all these people who have these super successful businesses and, are living these lavish lifestyles all because they have this online business. And you see that, and potentially they are even in their first few years in it. They're one of the few that had these quote unquote overnight success stories. And then we just create these visions or dreams or expectations for what our business can do that means we're disappointed. And I really, really want you to be celebrating every single thing that your business is doing right now instead of feeling that level of disappointment. So I'm thinking if I can outline some of these online business metrics for you, then you can simply use them as a guidepost to gather your goals and expectations for what you want your business to do. These are not here to limit you. These are not here to discourage you or anything like that. Remember, you get to decide what your business is capable of. You get to decide what energy you put into your business and thus get out of your business. You are in charge here. But let's kind of get real analytical with our business for a second, just for this one episode, and see where we're at and see what we can do to increase these numbers as well. Okay, let's get into these metrics. They are pretty standard percentages of the online business space. And also, they have a lot of wiggle room in either direction. I can say that from my own experience. I can say that from my clients' experience. So once again, guideposts, nothing more than that, knowing that there's a lot of potential on either side of these. They also depend on a lot of factors too. So we can't just say, okay, well, as long as I have an email list, then this is what I can expect. As long as I put out a paid offer, this is what I can expect. No. So we have to also think about your launch plan and how closely you follow it, how often you show up, the emails you send out, your special event, and how aligned that is. There's a lot that goes into launching your paid offer besides just having it. And so that's all things we do in Signature Program Lab. It also depends on your messaging and how compelling it is for your dream client. Not for everyone to see, but for that specific person that you want to help. Again, that's what we just went over in the Make Messaging Magic workshop. Also, your offer and how irresistible it is. Do people actually want to buy what you are selling, what you are offering, what your services are? Are you making it an irresistible offer so people understand that they need to purchase that to get where they want to go? Also, your audience and how warm they are to you, how good of a fit they are for what you're offering. Did they come to you because of a freebie that is related directly to what you do? Have they been around for a while and they potentially, like I said, gone cold and they're not interested anymore? They're not at that part of their lives where what you're doing matters to them, which is totally fine. We all have cycles of our lives, and it's fine for people to no longer need what you have to offer, but yet they might still be on your list or still be in your audience, even though they're not a good fit anymore. And also, have you ghosted them? Have you ghosted your audience, ghosted your email list, and now, they may have gone cold or not remember who you are and what you do, and they need some warming. So all of these things, there's so much more to these numbers than just these are the numbers. And this is where we can really get into how to blow these metrics out of the water, which we'll get into later as well. So we're going to start at the top of the flow of your business as an online business owner and work our way down. For me, the start of the flow is with your freebie. That is how people get onto your email list and into your audience. I personally don't count social media as really much of anything except to further connect with your people and talk about your freebie and potentially get some interest from your social media audience onto your email list. So I'm not going to talk about the metrics of social media because who even knows? I'm pretty sure they change every day. I think I just read that the overall engagement on social media, on Instagram in particular, is down like 27%. In the past few weeks. So it's like, who even knows? Why even bother? Waste of valuable energy to try to figure out how to manipulate that, in my opinion. So let's just talk about the things that we do have more control over, starting with your freebie. So your freebie landing page, that is going to be the place that you send people to where they can learn more about your freebie and put in their name and email address to get your freebie and also get put onto your email list. So your freebie landing page is like the sales page for your freebie. And yes, it should be considered in that way. It's not just like, put this thing up in 5 minutes and expect people to want to get involved without really selling them on it. Of the amount of people who go to your freebie landing page, 20 to 40% of them will convert into subscribers. So again, even that is a pretty wide range. If you are on the lower end of that, then I would say you have a really good chance of increasing that quite a bit just by spending more time on your landing page. The messaging that is on your landing page, which if you were at the workshop, you now know exactly what to put on that page, the framework to follow to write that page, that will help a lot. So already giving you some tips on how to increase that. But again, 20 to 40% is the standard. So 100% of the people who go on to your freebie landing page are not going to want your freebie. They may be interested, but not enough to exchange their email address for that freebie. Or they may just realize it's not for them. They may not know what it is because you haven't talked about it enough. Or they may not know that it is specifically for them because you haven't shown them that. And that's where your words become super powerful. This is a really important page, not something to take lightly, because once we get people on our email list, then they are part of our community and we can come into their world once a week with an email that has tons of value and really showcases what we do and who we help and how we help them, why it matters to them on a regular basis. So super important. And your freebie is also really important. The kind of freebie, the value of your freebie, is it epic? Is it interesting? Is it exciting? Is it necessary for your dream client? We're going to talk about that more in the next week's episode. We're going to talk more about your freebies. Anyway, let's say you have 1,000 visitors go to your landing page. That means 200 to 400 of them will download your freebie and get on your email list, okay? So now they're on your list and you start sending them emails. The average open rate for an email is 20 to 30%. Now, there are a bunch of caveats with this. on one hand, this is going to be a lot higher the fewer people you have on your list and how you got those people. So organic subscribers, they're naturally going to be warmer than people that maybe did come off of your social media that barely know you, just kind of happened upon your social media, then happened upon your freebie, and now they're on your email list. Or, people that you've got through paid advertising, obviously a lot colder. But if you have a network, if you have friends and family who get on your list, if you, have this really warm, engaged, small audience, then you can expect your open rate for your emails to be a lot higher. I would say at least 50%. And yes, it will naturally decrease as your audience grows. That is okay. That is to be expected. That is fine. And like I mentioned, that's also because, as the longer you have this email list, you have this freebie, or you're building your list with other freebies, people go cold. They get out of the season of wanting or needing what they originally came to you for, or they realize you're not the right fit for them, or whatever it is. It's not really up to you to figure out what that is, but there will be a cold audience that forms on your email list. And this is where cleaning your email list regularly really helps, and it keeps those open rates up. So yes, you lose followers. So the number on your total email list, your subscribers, goes down, but your open rate goes up. And who really cares about the number of people on your email list if they're not opening? So we care more about that open rate. Now, another really important caveat: Apple's privacy protection program. It's something they released in 2021, and it makes, I hate to say it, but it kind of makes open rate data pointless, which is not great, but true. So according to Apple, this is directly from Apple's site, mail privacy protection hides your IP address so senders can't link it to your other online activity or determine your location, and it prevents senders from seeing if and when you've opened their email. So anyone who is using Apple Mail can potentially have this blocked, and so you can't retrieve that data, or your email management software can't retrieve that data. Now, what I've heard is that this actually inflates your open rate. Not sure the mechanism on that, or if that's totally legit, so don't take my word as written in stone, but I have heard that it actually increases your open rate, so may look a little inflated. Now, I still think that you can and should keep track of your open rates, look at those, and take them into account. But what I use my open rates for is to see any fluctuations. It really helps me see what emails people are interested in opening, what they're not interested in opening, how my subject lines are going, because that's obviously how people determine if they want to open or not, is by subject line. You can use that data to still get information about what you should be sending your email list, what's working, what's not working, and just to get an overall gauge of how you're doing. So still important. I would still keep track of them for sure. So let's keep with our same example and do a little math. So you have this rockin' landing page. Of the 1,000 people who visited, 400 people signed up and are now on your list. That means if we're saying 30% of your emails are getting opened, 120 people are reading your emails on average. Of course, this is going to vary depending on so many factors. And also, it may not be the same 120 people every single time. So, there's a lot of things to consider there and a lot of variables. But just so you have an idea of this numbers game that does happen in business. Okay, now let's move to you selling your paid offer. That can be one-on-one client packages, a program, a course, a workshop, whatever it is, doesn't matter. The next metric in the flow is how many people sign up for your special event to kick off your launch. If you have followed along for a while, you know that I'm pretty adamant you do a special event to help sell your services. It is kind of this bridge that gets people to understand why they need what you have to offer. It takes them from kind of being cold or just being out of the loop. Like if you haven't been talking about what you do regularly, then they don't really know it that well. And it gives you the opportunity to spend some time with them and, give them a lot of value and really showcase what you do and then offer to help them on a paid scale. So highly, highly encourage you to do a special event for whatever you're selling. Doesn't matter if it's one-on-one clients or if it's a course or whatever. Anything. It always helps to do a special event. The special event is free usually and just a really fun opportunity for you. And even if no one buys, it's still this great opportunity for you to showcase what you do and talk more about that and get more comfortable and confident in talking more about that. Okay, off the soapbox of the special event. For the sake of this example, and because I think it's kind of the simplest and best special event, especially for people whom this may be their first couple launches, I am going to use a webinar as an example, a live webinar, okay? Because this is still considered a freebie, it is a free live webinar, the same opt-in rate typically applies. So between 20% and 40% of your audience will opt in to be a part of your webinar. I would say this may, and it's okay if it goes more towards the lower end. I would probably be okay with a 30% conversion rate on that page. And again, it is not just to throw this up in 5 minutes and not consider what you're putting on this page. This is a big deal. You are selling these people on spending an hour of their time with you live. That's a big deal. And that's why it may be a little lower than your freebie landing page, because there's more commitment. They have to be available. They have to want to sit around for an hour. It's just, there's a lot involved in a webinar that may lower the conversion rate, and that's okay. So let's say in this case, again, we have those 1,000 people that go to your registration page for your webinar. That means between 200 and 400 of them will register. We're going to keep it in the middle. Again, I think 30% is a pretty decent conversion rate for a webinar registration page. So that makes it 300 people signing up for your webinar. These 300 people are also considered your launch list. So when it comes time to sell your paid offer and to send enrollment emails, these are the people that will get those emails. Now, attendance rates for webinars. They are right around 30% of registrants, although I will say kind of since COVID, this has been on the decline. And I think it's because of Zoom fatigue. I really do. And people just not wanting to be on yet another call or meeting or anything like that. So this has been a little bit on the decline, I will say, but let's keep it at 30%, which means 100 people are going to be at your webinar live. And that's really important because so the other 200 people that didn't show up live, couldn't be there or forgot or decided not to attend, whatever, that's fine. They are still part of your launch list, but likely, obviously, not going to be as engaged in the launch. They may not even watch the replay at all. A lot of them don't, or they may watch it after your launch is already done. There's just a little less incentive there. So those people, while they still will be a part of your launch, are not as warmed up to the idea as those who attended live. So those 100 live people are just focus on them and be so excited that they were there with you live. Because about 10% of those live attendees will buy. or that equates to about 5 to 7% of your overall launch list will buy. So there may be some people who couldn't attend live that will still buy, but it's going to be quite a bit lower than the percentage of people that attended live. So overall, between 10 and 12 people will buy according to these metrics. So we started, again, I don't want this to discourage you, but I want to just look at this from this very real, very analytical, let's just stick with the numbers kind of mentality. We started with 1,000 people going to that registration page, and of that, 10 to 12 people purchase. Okay? And now you might be able to see why I hesitated to share this. It can be kind of disheartening if you were to only look at this because you're like, how am I even going to get 1,000 people to look at this registration page? What if I only can get 100 people or 50 people? Then do I even have any chance of anyone buying? And yes, you do. And that's what we're going to talk about because I personally have experienced and seen metrics way different than this. For me personally, my landing pages are always over 50% conversion rate. My emails are at 40 to 50% open rates, even as the numbers grow and my email list grows. And I don't say this to brag or anything like that. I say this to show you that what you're doing in between all these numbers matters a lot. And there is so much room and so much potential to make your story, your own data way different than this. And then you don't have to look at these numbers, these quote unquote standard typical ranges for online businesses, because you know how you perform, how your business is doing, and you can track data based on that, based on what you do. And I've seen my clients do this too. I've seen people who have launch lists of 30 enroll 10 people. People who have email lists of under 100 enroll 20 people in their programs. And that is why I really think, especially these small businesses just starting out and having these smaller but way warmer audiences can blow these metrics out of the water. Again, as long as you are focused on what you're doing in between those numbers and what you have the ability and the power to control within your own business. So like I said, there is a ton of wiggle room here, which is why I don't want you to take these numbers so seriously and get discouraged. But I do want them to serve as guidelines, as guideposts, like I said, because I also don't want you to feel disappointed when you have 10 people that signed up for your webinar and only 3 people joined live and only 1 person enrolled. Well, that's exactly what the metrics say should happen. And you should be celebrating the heck out of that 1 person and out of those 3 people and out of those 10 people. That is a huge deal. And the only reason you're disappointed is because you had to create these expectations without having any guideposts. And so your thought is, oh, of the 10 people that signed up, surely 7 or 8 will attend live, and then surely 5 or 6 will join. And so when you create those goals and you don't reach them, then you can't see how awesome that 1 person that joined was and how on point everything that you did leading up to that was. So then we get into this place of disappointment instead of excitement and encouragement. So that is, again, just to clarify one more time, why I am choosing to share these with you, even though I know you all can blow these numbers out of the water, especially as we continue to work on nailing your messaging, which is really what's at the heart of getting these numbers to increase for you. Before we get into that though, I want to show you an example of how you can use these to set your goals. So let's say you're launching a new program and you want to make $5,000. So you can and should start with the monetary goal that you want to hit. That is totally okay. So you want to make $5,000 on the launch of your new program. It is a $500 program. So that means you need 10 enrollments to reach your goal. If 10% of your webinar attendees are going to join, then that means you need 100 people to attend your webinar. And if the attendance rate is 30%, then that means you need 300 people to sign up for your webinar. And let's say your webinar landing page is totally on point. You're going to convert it at 50%, which you absolutely can do based on your messaging. That means 600 people will need to visit your landing page. Now, instead of that being overwhelming, here's the really nice thing. You don't have to worry about that dollar amount coming in and how you're going to make that happen. Instead, you can focus your attention and energy on getting people to visit your webinar landing page and having them register. So we don't have to be so focused on this monetary goal. Instead, we can more so just focus on getting people into our webinar, letting them know it's available, letting them know why it's important they show up, what it's going to help them with, why they can't live without being at this webinar. That is where your messaging comes in, and you can use that and focus on that instead of staying so hyper-focused on that monetary goal. So once you've set it and forget it, and focus on your people and getting them into your free event. Now, let me go over some ways that you can, first of all, troubleshoot if your metrics are lower than the ones that I just stated, or lower than you want them to be even, and also give you some ideas to increase them. If your freebie landing page or your special event landing page are not converting at least 30%, I really think that 20% is super low. I think you all can do way more than that. I think if you're having like hundreds of thousands of people go to your freebie landing page and they're all from like Facebook ads, then 20% might be more accurate because they're super cold leads. They don't know you and there's a lot of them. But I think for most of you and the type of business that you have, you can easily get your landing page to convert at 50% for sure, no question. But if it's not right now, then we have some work to do. So there's a couple options here, a couple things to look at. First of all, your freebie and special event is not epic enough. That's what I call it, this epic freebie. It's epic if it's unique, special, and highly desirable for your dream client. Again, we're going to talk more about this next week. But if your freebie isn't exciting and enticing enough for your dream clients, then they don't want it. And so when they go to your landing page, they're not going to be interested enough to convert, to put in their name and email address, download the freebie, and get on your email list. So that's one thing to look at. Also, the messaging on your page is likely not compelling and intriguing enough to get people interested in your freebie and willing to fork over their highly coveted, highly protected email address. It is the same as asking someone for $50. You should think of it that way, at least. And if you haven't done the work to let them know through your words why they need your freebie, why it is special, why it is valuable, what it will do for them, then they're not going to put that email address in that box. It's that simple. And that is, again, why I say you can't just throw up a generic landing page for your freebie. It is a sales page. There are a bazillion freebies out there in the world right now, and everywhere we turn, we're being asked for our email address. So what is going to make your person decide to put that email address that they're getting asked for every direction into your box? That's what we need to do on our landing page, and your words will do that for you. So you may need to take a hard look at your landing page and see if it really, truly is conveying the message that you want to convey in a unique and compelling way for you. And if it's really reaching into the heart and mind of your dream client. The last thing for your landing pages is that you might not be getting in front of the right people for whatever reason. Maybe it could be you had a little pivot and the audience that you did have is no longer a perfect fit for what you're doing now, or the audience you do have is comprised mostly of friends and family. And so the people who are going to your landing page aren't the right people for your freebie or for your webinar. And so they're hopping off because it's just not for them. And that's okay. But then you need to be taking a look at your audience and really, again, getting real with yourself about if it's the right audience based on what you are now offering. Or did you have a pivot? Or do you need to spend more time getting in front of the right people? Now, it is most likely some combination of all of the above if your landing pages aren't going as well as you'd like them to. Your messaging is going to be the biggest disconnect for sure. That's what I have seen 100 times out of 100. That is why I have started talking about it so regularly, because it's a huge disconnect in most of the people that I work with, and most of my audience is really diving into that and spending the time you need to on your landing pages, even for your free offers. So that's going to be really at the heart of this. But yes, also consider those other two things, that it's just not a good enough freebie and that it's just not the right audience, and then do what you need to do, make the tweaks to change those. And actually, to go back even further, if you're not getting visitors to your freebie landing page, like you're sharing about your freebie on your platforms, on your website, on your social media, and you're not getting people to even get to the landing page, then that means your messaging about your freebie outside of your page isn't compelling enough. So how you're even talking about your freebie on these other places that would get someone to click over to your landing page has a disconnect. So there's something there that isn't working. How you're talking about it, what you're saying, what you're not saying, how you're saying it, that all matters. So I can tell you very rarely is someone just going to see this free thing and a link that says sign up and sign up. They need the words that go with it. They need your message that goes with it in order to make a decision. Just seeing an image of a freebie and a thing that says free and a workshop or free workbook or journal or whatever and a link to join isn't going to do it for 99.99 out of 100 people. You need words. And I feel like there's a lot of you who are afraid of using your words to talk about your freebie. It is free. It's a great free offer. It should be something super exciting for you to share with the world. But I think it's just that you haven't done the messaging work yet to know exactly what your clients need to hear to make that decision. So again, if you're not even getting people to that landing page, then yes, still work to do there. All right, moving on. Let's talk about those emails. If you're not happy with your open rates of your emails, a couple things we can do there. First of all, write better emails. If your emails are boring or you only email when you want something from your email list, like you have an offer coming out or an affiliate link to promote or something like that, and you're never just emailing them with pure value and it's not engaging, like I said, it's kind of boring, or like overly professional and not like you talking to your friend, then people are probably going to stop opening those emails because they're not engaging and they're just not what they want to have in front of them. They're not how they want to be spending their time. So write better emails, write more engaging emails, write emails with higher value, write emails that are not just sales emails. That would be the first thing. Actually, that may not be the first thing. I feel like the first thing is you might just need better subject lines. Your subject lines are the most important part of your email, of your entire email. Your subject lines matter because that's what will determine if people even open them or not. If it's a boring subject line, if it's too long, if they can't read it because it goes across, and gets cut off, if it's not engaging or interesting, if it doesn't make them curious to know, like questions do really well in subject lines because it's like, oh, I want to know the answer to that question, then you lost them and they're just going to delete without clicking into your email. So that's a really easy way to get your open rates up, is just to work on your subject lines. And I feel like I'll be making that either a podcast episode soon all about subject lines, or maybe even a freebie with some subject lines for you to use so you don't have to think about it. So be on the lookout for that coming up soon. The third way to increase your open rates of your emails is to just continue consistently emailing your list. Do not ghost them. As soon as you ghost them, then you're off their radar. They kind of forget who you are or what you do. They don't feel connected. They don't continue getting that communication and that connection from you. And so then when you do start randomly emailing them again, they're not going to open, or they may open and unsubscribe because they're like, who is this person? Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not really interested in what they have to offer anymore because they kind of ghosted me, that kind of thing. So keep the relationship going. If you have ghosted your list, I can tell you exactly what to do and what to write in your email in Launch List Accelerator. So that's available for you as well. And then lastly, like I mentioned, clean your list. You should be cleaning your list pretty regularly. So that means basically wiping off, unsubscribing anyone who hasn't ever engaged in your emails or hasn't in a particular amount of time. So typically that's 90 days. So if someone hasn't opened your email in 90 days, chances are they're probably not going to open an email from you. Maybe they're going to spam and they are not even seeing your emails, or they have just decided they're not interested in the work you do but haven't unsubscribed themselves. Either way, it's best to get those people off of your list. And when you do that, then your open rates are naturally going to increase because the people that are opening them are still on your list. So most email service providers have this system already built in to where they can help you clean your list. So you can take those people who haven't opened in 90 days or whatever time frame you set or your email service provider sets, and you can send them a series of emails to re-engage. And then if they re-engage, they stay on. If they don't, then they get wiped clean. You can do that. Or if you know that they're just not going to open an email, like they never have, so obviously they're going to spam or something, then you can just wipe them clean too. So I would do that. I typically do it about once every 6 months. I know you're supposed to do it more than that. It's just not something that's really on my radar until then, but I definitely do it at least a couple times a year, and I would encourage you to as well. It actually feels really good. It feels good as kind of like a clean slate, fresh start, getting rid of maybe some stuck energy in your business and being able to continue to serve those people who are engaged. So I always like to do it, even though, yes, the number of total subscribers goes down. Who really cares? How to get more people to attend your webinar. As I said, this number has seemed to be going down for most businesses since the pandemic, most online businesses that are hosting webinars. So there are some things you can do to increase the number of people who actually get on your webinar live, because as I said, those people are your people. They get to be a part of your whole launch experience and see it live and be able to ask you questions and to be presented with this opportunity to work with you. So it's such a cool place to be, to have these people who have attended live. First thing you can do is to infuse your reminders with some heavy messaging. Your reminder email, so after someone signs up to attend your webinar, You should be sending them several reminder emails. And these reminder emails are not just like, hey, you signed up for this thing, it's happening at this time, see you there. Instead, we are infusing them with why it's important for them to be there. We're getting them excited to be there and how they will change and what they will learn and experience and how they'll grow. Really showing the importance of being there, of what you're doing. So infusing that into your reminder emails. The next thing is to provide some sort of special gift just to those people that are there live, and make sure that that is part of your messaging from the very beginning. Like that is on the landing page, that's in all the reminder emails and everything you put out to let them know that an extra special gift will be available, and say what that gift is. I mean, I don't know what it is for you, but make sure you give it a title and it sounds really enticing and you have this extra thing for those people who do attend live. And then the last option is to not include a replay. Just don't make it something that there's a replay to. That is okay. I mean, I've never personally done it, but I've considered it, and that's fine, especially if you know you're going to be doing it in the future. If someone can't attend at that time on that day, cool, then it'll be happening next month or in a few weeks or in a few months, and they can attend that one. Or if you're going to be doing several different time options for the live segment, like you're going to do it at noon on one day and then at 6 p.m. the next day, so people that work can attend after work. If you're giving options, then again, if they can't attend, no worries. It will happen again in the future, and that's fine to just let people know if they can't attend live, there won't be a replay. So make sure to attend live or wait until the next round. So that's a little bit more of a edgy way to get people to attend, but I have seen people do it and I have seen it work for people. Okay, and last thing we're going to cover today, how to get more people to buy. The ultimate $1 million question, literally. How to get more people to buy. First thing, you need a really, really good offer. An offer so good they can't refuse. When you are hosting a special event, again, let's stick with the webinar theme. When you are on that webinar, what you present as your paid offer should be the absolute best offer you can bring to the table. So this includes a fair price for both you and the work you're doing and the service you're providing and your client, and also value that exceeds that price so that your clients feel like they're getting the deal of the century, while again, of course, still feeling like a fair price for you and what you're bringing to the table. So you can do this with special bonuses, especially for those people, again, that attended live or signed up for the special event. They can get a special bonus or a special coupon code. There can be guarantees and refund policies to eliminate that feeling of risk. All of this makes up your offer package. And that offer package should make someone feel really excited and really safe to continue on their journey and hit that purchase button. So excited as in they're getting a really good deal, best offer ever. They're so excited and they know exactly what they're getting and exactly how it's going to change their lives. If either of that isn't conveyed, then we have a problem. There's a disconnect and they're not going to purchase. And that leads me into the second thing, of course, the messaging aspect. You have to have messaging that is so on point, your launch list feels it in their bones. They are experiencing something more than just hearing you talk or reading your words. They are experiencing something. It is causing an emotion. It is causing a shift. It is causing something in them that makes them need to say yes. They are connected to your message so deeply. They feel it. They feel like you've created this offer just for them, and they have to take you up on it. You are their person to solve their problem. And the only way they feel that is if you speak directly to them. Now, that doesn't mean send them individual emails or anything like that. No, that's where your messaging comes in, to where you've done the work to understand what you need to say so that that person on the other end of the screen feels like you're speaking directly to them, just directly into their hearts. And that's what we need to do every single time. And you do that also by making it all about them. So then we have this really great offer. We have this messaging that is speaking into the soul of our dream clients. And then it's just about unapologetically, confidently offering it to your people, openly talking about it, confidently sharing, communicating, connecting, all of those things. I see so many of you have this really great offer, and then your messaging is like, and then you just don't talk about it. But like, imagine if you had this like really solid messaging to go with this really great offer. That is going to naturally bring in this confidence to talk about it and share and openly just give, to the point where someone has to sign up. There is no other option. You have helped them make that decision for themselves. You have coached them into taking that step. And now here I am getting all worked up because I just think it's something so powerful and something so simple that we're just not using to our full advantage. And that is our words. All right, so I'm going to stop with that. I think that's been plenty for today. I am so happy my voice made it through the past hour. I know it's been a little sketchy here and there, but thanks for sticking it out with me. And just to wrap up, I know I've already said this a million times, but let me say it one time more. These metrics are general guidelines so that you know roughly what to expect. I want you to take the emotion out of it and just create some guidelines, create some expectations based on these very general numbers, knowing that you have the power to blow them out of the water, especially with everything we talk about here. If you are actually applying what we talk about on this show into your business, you will blow them out of the water. But just keep these numbers in the back of your mind until you have enough data to create your own metrics and your own numbers, and then use those to help you make your goals and expectations from there. And one last thing, I know I talked about messaging a lot here, and it probably will continue in pretty much every episode. If you did not get in on the Make Messaging Magic workshop and you want to catch the replay, it is now available over on shawnmynar.com/magic. You can get immediate access to the replay and all of the workbooks that we did and everything. It was so much fun. It was so great. Loved every minute of it, and really just so many golden nuggets in those 2 hours that will really help you increase your metrics in your business. So shawnmynar.com/magic if you want immediate and lifetime access to the Make Messaging Magic workshop. All right, friends, until next time, take care. Hey friends, Shawn here. And if you're a coach or practitioner who's looking to help more people make more money and have more free time, then I have a special invitation for you that you don't want to miss. Right now, I'm hosting a free masterclass that will walk you through the process of adding a signature program to your business. As many of you know, the signature program business model has been my primary way of doing business since 2017. And after 7 programs of my own created and helping dozens of other wellness pros create theirs, I'm now sharing my exact process with you for free in this 1-hour masterclass. Now you might be thinking, Shawn, I'm just not ready to have my own program yet, or I don't have the time to build a program right now. Are you crazy? I totally get it. I get all of it, which is exactly why I created this training in the first place. I want you to see how possible this really is for you and how simple it can be when you have a tried and true proven system in place, no matter where you're at in your business today. So if you're like most coaches and practitioners who have a dream of creating a scalable offer in their business that helps the people they're meant to help without it being directly tied to your time and energy, then there's a seat with your name on it inside my Burnout Proof Your Business Masterclass. In just 1 hour, you're going to learn why adding a signature program will uncap your income potential forever and give you more time for your own life, health, family, and self-care. You'll learn exactly how my client sold out her first program, even with a small audience, because of this one super simple marketing hack that I am going to reveal. You'll learn the simplified, foolproof process that will take your knowledge and experience and turn it into your own program in just 6 weeks. And also how to implement an automated marketing system that will grow an engaged audience full of perfect match clients that can't wait to enroll in your program once it's ready, even if right now you're starting at 0. All you have to do is head to shawnmynar.com/burnoutproof and save your seat for this masterclass before it's gone. shawnmynar.com/burnoutproof. Can't wait to see you there.